Okie dokie! I kind of forgot what I was doing there for a moment, and I got sidetracked. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ram Show. It is May 17th, 2017. We've got a jam-packed full show for you today again. I'm sure this one's going to be just as long as the last one. So, I'm here, and Zach, say hi.
Hi, as requested.
How's it going?
All right.
It's been crazy around here lately. Not that this has anything to do with tech, but it's been raining like crazy. How about up there?
A couple nights ago it did, but not so bad.
So we're supposed to have like severe weather all weekend long. But with that out of the way, we are going to get into our topics here for this week. First is the big ransomware attack that is going around. The WannaCry ransomware attack, which is funny because maybe it's fitting because I'm the software guy, but you kind of didn't have any idea about this, did you, Zach?
Well, I actually had heard something, and mostly that something was somebody asking me, "Hey, have you heard about the ransomware?" I was like, "Well, ransomware is nothing new. What are you talking about?"
Right, it's been around forever, but this one is kind of big. We'll talk about it in a moment. And so, going along with the big ransomware thing, is Microsoft to blame for the largest ransomware attack in history?
Well, when you were telling me about it earlier, you were saying something about, oh, it's mostly XP and Windows 7. So
That's what I
perhaps
heard somewhere.
I'm pretty sure they should. I don't think they should be on the hook for the Windows XP people because they dropped support for that like a year ago. But
That is true. What, for
what about Windows 7?
XP? Well, XP's been dropped for like, what? Has it been 4 or 5 years now?
Wait, what? I thought they dropped XP when like Windows 10 came out, or am I thinking of something else?
I thought they dropped XP in like 2013 or 2014. It's been a while.
I think it was that long ago. Well, it's either way, it's dropped.
Yeah.
So
And I think they're planning on dropping support for Windows 7 soon too. No
I'm
surprise
sure they
there.
don't want people to. They want people on Windows 10. They don't want people on 7.
I wonder why. Moving along. New stuff. This is Zach's department here. Well, do you want to tell them?
You can go for it.
AMD, their Ryzen 9 Threadripper CPU lineup has been leaked. Now, keep in mind,
Nines, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we've got one better."
these are leaked specs, so we're not quite sure if they're the full-blown specs yet, but nevertheless, we'll be talking about them. I'm not going to say the first word here because my Google Assistant in the background will go off, but Google Assistant may be coming to the iPhone, so replacement possibly for Siri. And
I don't know about a replacement. I don't think Apple would let that happen, but
well, okay, so supposedly as of now, and I don't think it's been released quite yet. Oh, actually, they're planning on to release it this week, actually, so that'll be interesting to check out when it does. But supposedly it's only going to work inside of the app, so you're going to actually have to have the app open
that's
for
what
it
I
to
mean.
work.
Apple would never let Google's software be as functional as their own, right?
Exactly. So when I read this one as I was looking for topics for the RAM show this week, I thought it said something different. So Delta to use facial recognition for self-service baggage check. I thought it was for self-service check-in. I still don't know how I feel about it, but I think I feel more okay with it being for baggage checking than for actual checking in. Because, yeah. With the airlines and all the shenanigans that's been going on with that over the last couple of years. Yeah. Oh, and Netflix is going to be dropping support for certain Android devices that have. I don't want to give it away right now, but that are have some modifications to them. Yeah, that have some modifications to them. So we'll talk about that later.
The whole thing sounds like a joke to me, but whatever.
So
why?
yeah, So let's start here in with the WannaCry ransomware attack. So it has hit. Supposedly, last time I knew, it was over 100 countries were affected. Which, yeah. Well, they weren't kidding when they said it's the largest ransomware attack in history. Now, supposedly, how this thing got started was, from what I heard, the NSA have found some backdoors in Windows, which they decided they weren't going to tell Windows, or Microsoft, excuse me, about. And of course, why would they, right?
Wow, why tell them about the exploits when we can just have our own backdoors?
Exactly. So, it gave them a way into, for, to, get into people's computers in the United States, other places, stuff like that. Well, I have one question for the NSA, and I do not understand how the hell this happened. But, yeah, the NSA, yeah, sort of, kind of got hacked. Like,
I'm sure they have plenty of answers for you.
Yeah, like, would you like to explain to me exactly how that happened? Because, like, I'm no expert on the NSA, but I would imagine that, they probably should have, I would expect them to have some pretty good, measures in place to prevent people from getting in.
Well, you would think that, but government.
So apparently not. And so what happened is a group of hackers got in and stole these tools and used them to create the WannaCry ransomware attack. Now, I've been hearing a lot of different things. I've been hearing it's a virus. I've been hearing it's a worm. So at this point, I'm not exactly sure which one it is. But if it's a worm, that makes it even worse. So now, you're obviously, when it comes to computers, Zach, you know hardware better than you know software, but I'm going to guess you know the difference between a virus and a worm.
I could tell you the difference between a virus and a Trojan, but not a worm.
So worms, well, okay, let's start with a virus. So what a virus does is it primarily is, what is it? It's like point-based, basically. Like it's target-based. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. So it targets one specific machine. With a worm, what it does is it will attack one machine, and then once it's done infecting that machine, it'll go on through all the other things in your network and go attack them if they're vulnerable. So supposedly, if it's a worm, what it's doing is it's attacking, computers, and then because the internet is one big LAN, basically, it's moving on to other computers around the internet and affecting them as well. So now there is a way to protect yourself, and you're not going to like it, Zach.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Take your computer off the internet, huh?
Well, that would work, but there's a simpler way, okay. I guess.
I thought you were getting at the whole, the only secure computer is an offline one type thing.
Well, that is true, but no, installing Windows updates.
Oh, solid.
Well, Microsoft has now knows about the exploits. Actually, they've known about them for a while, and they've gone ahead and patched them, I guess. So, now here's something interesting. Hospitals in England actually had to turn away patients because the ransomware got into the computer systems, and they couldn't access any of the records or anything like that. So, yeah, I mean, not good. Definitely.
No, not good.
Now, the ransom is, it starts off at $300, and then it goes up, I guess, like after a couple days or something like that, to like $600. And how would you imagine, Zach, that you're supposed to pay this? In what form?
Bitcoin.
Exactly! And why would that be? Yeah, why? Huh?
Because it's anonymous. They can't find out who did it.
Yeah, basically, so...
Bitcoin.
Yeah, so basically with Bitcoin, you can't track it. So, wonderful way to, make your money and then not be able to be tracked and everything. Now, so what the ransomware actually does, for those of you who are still confused about it, so it gets on your computer and then it encrypts all of your files. And so when it encrypts them, they're basically still there, you just can't access them. Because if you, like, here's a great example. If you open up a Word document, it'll just be a jumbled mess of characters, basically. And the only way to put the pieces back together is to have the decryption code, which, when the program encrypts all your files, it creates the key, and then it ships it off of your device to the hackers. And, I mean, realistically, if you get the ransomware on your computer, you're not getting your files back.
Well, there have been ransomware before where there were tools released that could get your files back, but who knows about this one?
I haven't seen
like sometimes I've seen a couple like antivirus companies release free tools to get rid of ransomware, specific ransomware.
From what I've seen, I haven't seen anything yet that would like reverse it or decrypt it. I would imagine even if you got the key, which you're not going to get, because let's be honest. I mean, somebody would physically have to, okay, this specific person sent me, the ransomware, and this specific key goes with this specific, device. So, and then they would have to send the key out and stuff like that. I mean, what's the point? You've already got the money. It's not like a credit card transaction where, you send the money, you don't get your product, you cancel it. It doesn't work that way. So, like I said, realistically, you're probably not getting your files back. And
Here's the thing, is that they actually do have an interest in giving you your stuff back if you pay them, because then if people knew they wouldn't get their stuff back even if they paid, they wouldn't pay them.
I don't know. I haven't seen any like stories or anything of like people actually paying the ransom. Well,
historically, people who pay ransomware usually get their stuff back because they want people to pay them, so they kind of have to fulfill their end of the deal if they want anybody to pay them.
Interesting. I don't know. From what I've heard people say don't pay the ransom. You're probably not getting your files back. But
you're not supposed to, because it just gives them more incentive, but...
Yeah. So, I don't know. But, yeah, so it's been something that's been going around for a while. Let's see. This says, earlier today, and this was written, when? May 12th. Earlier today, a massive ransomware virus attack, see, they call this a virus in here, spread to the computer systems of hundreds of private companies and public organizations across the globe. Now, that's the other thing I heard, that it's primarily targeting, like, big businesses and corporations and stuff like that, and not necessarily individuals.
Those are the people more likely to just pay it so they can get on with their money making.
Right, yeah, exactly.
It's like every second the computer's not working is money they're not making, and a lot of companies won't stand for that. They'd rather just pay the ransomware and get their computer working again.
Exactly. So what this is saying here, the software locks computers and asks for digital ransom before control is safely returned. Oh, so this says that they will actually, I guess, return your content, I guess?
Again, I'm not surprised, because if they didn't, nobody would ever pay them.
In a few hours, the malware had already infected victims in at least 74 countries, including Russia, Turkey, Germany, Vietnam, and the Philippines. And it's not to be spreading at a rate of 5 million emails per hour.
Wow. Okay.
So, I first learned about this. I got an email from like our techie guy at work that said, "Hey, there's this ransomware going around. Don't click on random links in your email."
Who would have thunk it?
Yeah, exactly. Let's see here. The hack was carried out as hospitals and doctors in England were forced to turn away patients and cancel appointments after the attack crippled the NHS. I'm guessing like that's the National Health System, I think? I have no idea. I'm not good with like health acronyms. Let's see. What is the WannaCry virus? The WannaCry virus targets Microsoft's widely used Windows operating system. The virus encrypts certain files on the computer and then blackmails the user for money in exchange for access to the files. It leaves the user with only 2 files, instructions on what to do next, and the WannaCry decryptor program itself. Wouldn't that be funny if they like screwed that up and like decrypted encrypted the program itself too by accident?
Okay, well then
Well,
I guess at that point you're probably even more screwed.
I would imagine so, because then you can't get to the program and figure out what you're supposed to do. But yeah. So what are the hackers asking for? We already kind of went over this, but $300 in Bitcoin. Payments can be sent to at least 2 anonymous Bitcoin wallets that are routed through the dark web and cannot be traced. Again, surprise, surprise. Let's see. Who could be behind the attacks? The ransomware attack is one of the largest ever seen. So it's been huge. One cybersecurity researcher tweeted that he had detected 36,000 instances of the ransomware called WannaCry and variants of that name. Some of the organizations affected do not appear to have been specifically targeted by the attack, meaning it could be spreading at random. Interesting.
Right.
Yeah, so I think we've gone on long enough about this. So we'll conclude here with this, and that is run the Windows updates, make sure you have security software running on your computers, and probably the most common sense thing ever, just don't click on random links that you don't know what they are for. That's probably the best way to protect yourself. So, yeah.
Common sense.
Yeah.
Wow.
If you're not sure, probably the best practice is to just delete it. Now, here's the thing, though, is that the some of the emails will come from like people that you know, so that can make it hard to, I guess, figure out whether it's actually legitimate or not. But if you have any concerns or anything like that, or you're not sure, just ask them. That would be the easiest way to do it, I would imagine. So, anyway, so is Microsoft to blame, however, though, for the largest ransomware attack in history? Now, Friday saw the largest global ransom attack in internet history, and the world did not handle it well. We're only beginning to calculate the damages inflicted by the WannaCry program in both dollars and lives lost from hospital downtime, but at the same time, we're also calculating blame. There's a long list of parties responsible, including the criminals, the NSA, and the victims themselves, but the most controversial has been Microsoft itself. The attack exploited a Windows networking protocol to spread within networks, and while Microsoft released a patch nearly, get this, 2 months ago, it's become painfully clear that the patch didn't reach all users. So I guess that's where the blame may be coming from. Now, I don't know if I necessarily dig Microsoft all the way here, though.
I think that the NSA not informing them of the exploit is more to blame here.
I would agree. Again, going back to how exactly did the NSA get attacked? But then again, too, when the NSA found these vulnerabilities in Microsoft, instead of keeping quiet and saying, "Hey, we can use these to exploit people now," they should have said, "Hey, Microsoft, we found these vulnerabilities," which, by the way, Microsoft had no idea about, and they should have got them patched.
Although you could also blame them for not knowing about this, because they're the ones that built it. Yeah, they're the ones that built it.
That is true.
Right.
Yeah, that is true. I think, I don't know, is Microsoft starting to get sloppy, I guess?
I don't know. It seems to happen to everybody.
Yeah. And I think, Microsoft is unfortunate because, it's like, if you take any operating systems, for instance, like Mac OS, Linux, stuff like that, there are vulnerabilities in any software, but I think the reason that, think about it, Microsoft is one of the most widely used operating systems out there right now, so it makes sense that, the largest attack in history would target what operating system? Windows, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a little unfortunate for Microsoft, because it puts them right there in, kind of the middle of it, but
You know, with all the money they make off it, they should be able to make it secure, right?
You would think, but again, I think Microsoft is not necessarily focusing as much on the baseline operating system as how can we collect the telemetry data to use that to market and sell so that we can make more money.
Oh, I don't know. Their priorities are maybe in the wrong places a little bit.
I think they have been for a while.
Again, not really entirely their fault, but kind of, sort of.
Let's see. Where was I? I lost my place here. The attack exploited network protocol. We read that. The patch. Oh yeah, Microsoft was following the best practices for security and still left hundreds of thousands of computers vulnerable with dire consequences. So, was it good enough? For some, the answer is obviously no. Now, I think they could have. This is why I say this. I think they could have done a better job of forcing updates down to users, but then at the same time, with Windows now they have the options in there. It doesn't matter for you because you don't use them, but they have options in there for like metered connections and stuff like that. Let's see here. Let's do this real quick. We'll pull this over here. See if I can. There we go. Now my device is up to date, which is actually I should probably check for updates since I just put a new SSD in this, and there's a brand new installation of Windows on it. Let's see here. Advanced options. I don't know exactly where they are, but I know you can like do the metered connections and stuff like that. So I'm wondering if like that is partially to blame for why some people didn't get the updates that they should have gotten.
I find it hard to believe that that could be the sole reason behind so many people not getting the updates.
Again, there's also the controversy too that's or not controversy, but there is that from what I read that it mostly attacked like the XP7 machines as well, which there's so much information going around about this whole WannaCry ransomware attack thing. I don't know like what's actually true and what's not true. It's kind of one of those things where it's like I don't know if anyone actually like knows like really what's going on, or they're all just kind of coming up with their own theories about what they've seen with it. So anyway, okay, moving on. Since I'm sure like every tech channel out there has covered the WannaCry ransomware attack stuff, and including us now, let's move on to AMD's Ryzen 9 Threadripper CPU lineup that has been leaked. I'm going to primarily let you take the lead on this one, Zach, but it's coming in June, and up to 16 cores and 32 threads. Those are the like high or like the top level CPUs, I guess. So anyway, yeah. So what do you want to say about this? I guess, Zach.
16 cores. Intel's going to have to step up their X99 game if they want to compete with that. Because at the moment, what are we at? 10?
That would be a you thing.
Remember, we're at 10.
Again, remember, when it comes to hardware stuff, I'm not great. That's your department.
Well, we're at 10, so Intel's going to have to step it up if they want to compete with this, because top end of the Ryzen 9 lineup has 16 cores and 32 threads.
Now, you said, what? We're at 10 cores right now?
We're at 10 cores on X99 for Intel, yeah.
So, at the low end of Ryzen 9, the 1955X and 1955, they're going to start off with, they call it a measly 10 cores apiece.
And the clocks even aren't that bad.
Let's see. The 1955X is 3.6 gigahertz and a boost of 4.0 gigahertz, while the 1955 has a 3.1 gigahertz speed for kind of the normal there, and then the boost is 3.7 gigahertz.
I'm pretty sure the 6950X has a wider range of clocks but they both peak around the 4 gigahertz mark, and they're both unlocked anyway, so it doesn't matter really.
I don't know. Did I? I don't remember. Are these chips unlocked or not?
Oh yeah, the whole Ryzen line has been unlocked as far as I'm aware, at least the desktop one.
You know, so I'm primarily a Windows or not a Windows guy. What is Team Green? Right, no, that's not right. Team Blue. There we go. Team Blue, Team Red. I'm
Well,
confusing.
technically also Team Green, but sure.
Technically, well, yeah, I'm Team Green right now. You're trying to make me Team Red. Well, so I have always had bad experience with AMD products, probably because I've always had the low end stuff. So when it comes to processors, Intel's the way to go for me. But you know, with the Ryzen lineup and stuff like that, it's been making me think, maybe
This stuff
AMD.
isn't bad.
Yeah,
This
AMD might not be
takes a
horrible.
while when it's actually reasonable, and you're not just gimping yourself.
Yeah. So I don't know. Do you think AMD will overtake Intel?
No, and the reason for that is because of brand name.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, think about it. You see commercials on TV. What do they always, you know?
Well, all right, let me rephrase that. If you say overtake Intel, they probably won't overtake Intel anytime soon in terms of market share or Nvidia, but they stand to possibly compete in terms of performance.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. What do you think? I'm interested because you run Intel in your system. So
Well, yeah.
if you were building a brand new system right now for, you know, extreme gaming, what would you pick? Would you pick one of Intel's new i9 processors, or would you throw a Ryzen 9 in there?
I mean, there's just not enough information out yet to even make a decision. Like,
Right.
I would not want to make a decision until I can see benchmarks of both of them.
Right. And again, that's the thing is that what we're seeing right now remember, these are leaked specs, so these may not be the full specs that are actually there for right now. But, you know, it's interesting to see it. Let's see. Let's take a look at the top of the lineup here, which are the 14 core, 28 thread. I think I actually have that. I set up to 16 core and 32 thread.
16 cores is the top end.
Is it? Oh, yeah. I'm looking in the wrong spot.
Yeah, there you go.
I love the picture of the food that is moving right above what we're talking about. Oh, hey, there's a random ad that just popped up. Don't you just love that?
What's ad block?
Ad
block.
Yeah. Hey, you know, content creators here. Which,
all right, well, you know what? When it's in my face and it's auto playing, I don't care who you are.
Yeah, that was funny. Before the stream started, you were pulling up a website, and I used to hear in the background.
Yeah, a video auto played. It was quite loud. I was not happy.
There are these things called volume control, Zach.
Okay, but I shouldn't have to volume control something I didn't ask to play.
Good point. Good point. Okay. So yeah, the big boys here: 16 cores, 32 threads. The Ryzen 9 1998X and the Ryzen 9 1998. Now
and almost 4 gigahertz. Holy crap, that's awesome.
Yeah. The 1998X, 3.5 for the base, 3.9 for the boost.
Okay, well, really, with the X and the non-X, with the X, you're getting a better bin version that is guaranteed to go that fast. Whereas the other ones, I mean, you can overclock them to the same level, but you're more likely to get a better bin chip if you go for the X, etc. You know, you get to save a little effort on overclocking if you don't feel like doing that. I don't know.
Now, and if you're overclocking, here's an interesting question to go along with it, I guess. Would you water cool or would you air cool?
All right. Over 100 watts, it could be justified to water cool. And these top end ones are rated at 155 watts. Yeah, that's probably worth water cooling, especially if you have the money to spend on one of these.
Well, now,
And that's the other thing is there's no pricing out yet.
yeah, that's
So,
what I was going to say.
who
What
knows?
do you think these will be priced at? Because I didn't see any pricing information.
Well, the top end for Intel has always been $1,000, which is a lot, but the type of people who buy those don't really care that much. And then the 6950X came out, and they just kind of sneakily bumped that up to like $1,700 or something like that. I forget exactly how much it is. It might be even more or a little bit less, but there's no way that they could price it like that. I really don't think they will. I feel like the top end would be around the $1,000 mark because they really want to undercut Intel with this stuff.
Yeah, that's probably
Like they
true.
have with Ryzen line so far.
Now, here's an interesting question for you. Again, you're the hardware expert here. So, the Xeon chips, excuse me.
Cards.
Hey, I corrected myself. The Xeon chips were primarily meant for server applications. Now we're starting to see them in workstations. So, where do those compare, I guess, with the i9 processors from Intel and then the Ryzen 9?
Well, I'm not so well versed on Xeons, but from what I can tell, they're usually clocked a little bit slower than what we're seeing here. At least when you start to reach the core counts of these. So, I don't know. I mean, let's see. I haven't seen all the information on the i9 lineup yet, but I'm not. Are they using a different socket? Do you know?
I
Is it
have no
X99?
idea. I have no
Okay,
idea what
well,
socket they're using.
I'm not so well versed on Xeon, so I don't know. But in fact, I might have been wrong in saying the clocks are slower because the later generations may have caught up. But some of these, like on these Ryzen ones, the clocks are pretty impressive for how many cores we're seeing here. Like almost 4 gigahertz base with a 16 core CPU. That's not too bad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, with a base clock of, like you said, almost 4. Now, what is right now, with the current lineup for Intel, what is the highest base clock?
Are you talking about the X99 stuff?
Currently on the market right now, from what you can get from Microsoft. Because the i9 lineup, is that out yet or not?
No, that's not out yet.
Okay,
That's an early
so you're still looking at i7s then, correct?
Okay, if you want to talk, the best i7 that you can buy is still the 6950X, the Broadwell E, top end, $1,700 monster. 10 cores, 20 threads, and the base clock is 3 gigahertz and the turbo is 3.5.
So the Ryzen card, or the Ryzen chip, why do I keep calling them cards? The Ryzen chip that is supposedly coming out is looking a little bit better than that then.
All right, well, the turbo is a bit of a lie because it's supposed to clock a little bit faster than that if you're using less than all of the cores, but the peak is 4 gigahertz. So really, they are bumping the core count by 6 and barely reducing the clocks.
So now, where does that compare with the? Have you seen the i9 lineup yet or not? I haven't taken.
No,
a
I
look at
haven't.
it. So I wonder where the i9 lineup compares with the new Ryzen 9 lineup.
All I heard was the name and thought, wow, that's silly. But okay. i9, okay.
Well, yeah. So what happened to the i8? Like
Well,
we
I don't
skipped
know.
the number.
They skipped, so I don't know, I guess.
They kind of pulled like a Microsoft there, where Microsoft went from Windows 8 to Windows 10.
I don't see them having more cores than AMD, but they will probably have a slight edge in instructions per clock because they just historically have.
Interesting. I
So
don't know.
where AMD will have to win is by if they do, if they are to win the performance war, they're going to need more cores / cache / clocks than Intel. If they're going to win the market share, they're going to need to price better than Intel. And
That's true.
well, if Ryzen is anything to go by, they have priced pretty competitively. So
So
that's not so bad.
what do you think for the high end? The what is it? The 1998X. What your best estimate on what pricing will look like?
I'd say the top end one would probably sit around $1,000.
I mean,
It's a lot, but you're getting a lot more now.
that is true.
That much money.
That is true. That is true. So,
And it sure as heck undercuts Intel. They bumped their top end to $1,700. Like, what? Mad.
definitely, yeah. I mean, you have to think though, it it's branding. Intel has the name out there, so
Well, there's nothing really you can buy that's better than that,
yeah.
aside from server stuff. So
It will be interesting for us
they
to
can
take a
kind of
look
charge
at.
whatever they want for it, and people who really need that much performance will just buy it,
Yeah,
or they'll buy stuff.
or you'll have your people who are strictly, team blue and people are strictly team red. That's how it's always been.
And I really don't get those people, or whatever. Why not just buy whatever's the best? Sheesh.
Yeah. Again, for me, it comes down to experience. I had a bad experience with AMD products, so why would I buy AMD products? But, if I had a good experience with AMD products, then, my viewpoints could change. So, I don't know. I've just always used Intel, and I've always been happy with Intel, so that's why I've always stuck with it. Kind of that mentality of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of thing. But
What I don't get is what is this naming scheme? Like, what?
what, Ryzen 9?
1998X, 1977X, 1956X. Like, what?
I don't know. It's all
What are
confusing to me. I'll leave hardware to you.
Why couldn't we be a little bit? I don't know. These just seem like random numbers in the 19.
That's kind of what I was thinking as I was putting stuff together the other day. Which this ties in perfectly with this here, is that we do want to kind of take a look at the specs for the Intel processors, the i9s, and then the Ryzen 9s, and compare them. Now, it'd be awesome if Intel and AMD would love to send us out the chips so we could test them. Unfortunately, I don't quite think that's going to happen.
Except there's probably not any motherboards for these yet.
That could be too. Yeah, because we'd have to find a manufacturer that would send us out a board for it too.
The Ryzen 9s are a different socket, it says.
But anyway, so we want to take a look at kind of the differences between them. Hopefully put a video together, which will, if we do, we'll put down in the description of this live stream. And, yeah. So, we have to figure out some logistics on that. So, may or may not happen. Probably will. Anyway. So anything else about the Ryzen 9 Threadripper processors before we move on, Zach?
Nope.
Okie dokie. Moving on then. Google Assistant coming to my iPhone. Now, this isn't a problem for you, Zach, because you have an Android device. I am still rocking a iPhone 6S. Oh, hey, there's an alert on there. Gotta set that aside there. Yeah. Zach rolls his eyes at me every time I pull my phone out.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Why do you have an iPhone? Because I wanted one, and it works well. For what?
Carry on.
So anyway, now this is something interesting here. So Google is planning to launch the app this week. Now, that's the thing. This is going to be in the form of an app, so it's not going to be like a replacement for Siri, which, surprise, surprise. And supposedly the only way it's going to work is you're going to have the app open for you to actually be able to interact with the Google Assistant. Which
seems like it kind of defeats the purpose.
Surprise, surprise. Yeah.
So I don't know what you're going to do with this. If you were to download this, what is this for? You have to open it to do anything with it, which kind of, ruins the whole hands-free thing. What is this for then?
I think it's just, I don't know. Google is reportedly planning to hang on one second here. There we go. Google is reportedly planning to launch its Google Assistant iOS app this week, according to Android Police. The annual Google I/O conference takes place Wednesday through Friday near the company's global headquarters in Mountain View, California. Let's see. Assistant is Google Owl. Is Google's Owl? AI helper, designed to compete with Apple's Siri, Microsoft Cortana, and Amazon's Alexa. All the Alexas are perking up in the background now. Currently, Google Assistant is only available on Android phones, of course. Do you have it on yours, Zach?
No. Not actually 100% on that. I haven't gone out of my way for it, and I haven't updated in a long time to, preserve my root. But,
yeah, so it's only available, I guess.
It might actually have it. I'd probably froze it if it is on there.
I think the Galaxies might have it. I know my Google Nexus 4, which is super old by this point, has it on there. And of course the Google Pixel has it. Because why not? A phone actually specifically built by Google. Yeah, of course it's going to have
to set it up, and I have never done that, so.
You believe what?
I believe you have to set it up if you want it, and I haven't done that, so.
I never had to set it up on my Nexus 4. It was just there.
Well, if it's pre-installed, you have to go in and turn it on or something. I don't know. Whatever.
I don't know.
Maybe it just didn't come on mine, and you have to go download it.
Yeah. I have it on my Google Home in the background, which I've actually been pretty happy with. Now, here's the thing about the Google Home is that it doesn't have as many what Alexa's Amazon calls them skills. So it doesn't have as many skills, I guess, but they're developing it. Of course, the Alexa I think has been out a lot longer, hasn't it?
I believe so. Yeah.
So
I don't really keep track of these two closely.
Yeah. So it would make more sense that Alexa would have a lot more stuff built into it. Because I think Amazon was kind of the first to kind of come up with this idea, and then all the other companies were like, oh, hey, this is a good idea. We're going to copy them now. Let's see. Now, this is what they say, because you asked about this. By bringing Google Assistant to iOS, Google could potentially expand its reach into the huge base of iPhone users and expose them to the Google ecosystem. It would also put Assistant head-to-head with Siri on Siri's home turf.
Well, I don't know. It feels like Siri's at an awfully big advantage in this case because Siri is built in at a much lower level.
Yeah. Let's see. The Google Assistant app for iPhone and iPad is said to feature a chat interface like the one found in Google Allo, as well as voice commands, but don't expect operating Google Assistant to be as seamless as firing up Siri. As a third-party iOS app, all interactions with Assistant would likely happen within the app, meaning you'd have to open the app first, not press a button or utter a wake word.
I feel like that's probably going to be the biggest problem.
Right? Now, this says, though, that many more details are still unclear, but Android Police reports that the Google Assistant app will only be available in the U.S. at launch. So, we're lucky here. We'll get to try it out first.
I won't.
You won't, yeah, because you don't have an iOS device.
Actually, I don't really care that much.
That's false. That is false. You do own an iOS device.
Yeah, it's super old, though.
Which was funny. I saw it sitting there on your desk one time, and I was like, Zach, what is this? That thing is
at least 3 years old, okay?
I was surprised that you even had, I gotta figure out how to stop doing that. You can't hear that, can you?
Clicking?
Not the clicking.
I can hear your mouse clicking, but that's it.
Oh, no, I have hotkeys set up at OBS to switch the scenes. And, the last couple times I've switched back to the double box, you hear the little Windows chirp in the background.
Nope, didn't hear it.
You'll hear it over the stream, so, I gotta figure out how to get that to stop doing that.
Nice.
So, yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to try it out and see, how exactly it'll work. Which... Let's see, Google Assistant. I'm curious because they said it's coming out this week. But I don't know. Let's see. Google Allo Smart Messaging. I don't. Huh. There's a Google Wi-Fi app in here. I'm not quite sure what that's for. If that's for their proprietary like mesh system that they have. Because doesn't Google have like their own network thing?
Probably. I don't know. I've never looked into
or
it.
Not network thing, but like router stuff. Anyway, I don't see it on my phone yet. So
network of like public hotspots type thing.
No, like it's actual like home Wi-Fi stuff.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about then.
At least I think maybe it's a different company that I'm thinking of. So yeah. Delta to use facial recognition for self-service baggage check. Thoughts?
How much of this is going back to a database? Other than that, I don't know.
Right? Like Microsoft storing all of your data?
Yeah, like that.
Well, okay, you would have to imagine that some of it is going back to a database because it's got to store that information.
I don't know. It seems more gimmicky than anything to me.
Well, so it's supposed to match
if it works well, they'll probably save on like employee spending and stuff like that, you know?
That's probably part of it.
They don't have to hire somebody to work there.
Yeah. It's going to match your passport photo, so I could see one issue with that. You're going to have a passport for this to work.
Yeah, that might be an issue. Like, what if you're traveling in the country and you don't need to have a passport for anything else? Why should you have to bring a passport just to use this stupid machine? Yeah. And there's probably another way. It can maybe, I don't know, maybe it can use a driver's license or something like that.
I'm not quite sure. Delta will be the first in the U.S. to test facial recognition technology to verify customers. And so they're going to be rolling this out at machines at, well, let's take a guess at what airport.
I already saw it.
You saw it, but, well, it's Minneapolis, St. Paul, which I thought was funny.
Yeah.
Because that's where you are.
I don't plan to be using the airport, though, so there's that.
I don't know. Maybe if the channel blows up, which it probably won't, but, CSE?
Yeah, maybe.
Would you be opposed to going to CSE if, somebody wanted to send us there?
Heck no.
So maybe we should send you out with a camera once they get this set up and you can check it out. I'm just kidding.
I don't know. This seems like a gimmick to me.
So the reason that they want to get it set up, I guess, is Delta hopes that it will help with faster check-ins. I guess.
Well, assuming it works, it probably will.
Yeah. Well, okay, so what am I doing here? Gotta figure out the right buttons to hit. So I went to New Orleans a couple weeks ago, and it wasn't terribly busy in the airport, but I think, and they've streamlined this too with, the kiosks and stuff like that where, you walk up to them, you print your boarding pass out and stuff like that. So yeah, I think in terms of making some things faster, I think it will just a little bit.
It probably will.
Yeah. The carrier announced Monday that it will be the first in the U.S. to test facial recognition technology as a means of verifying customers' identity. The test will revolve around 4 self-service bag drop machines it's placing at Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport this summer. The machines will let customers quickly check their own bags instead of using an agent. Now, here's what they say. Our machines will be equipped to test facial recognition technology to match customers with their passport photos through identification verification, Delta said. Delta cites wanting to both speed up the check-in process. The carrier said they could potentially process double the customers per hour, as well as free up their staff to directly assist travelers.
So again, it's fantastic, assuming it works. If it works, great. If it doesn't, they're going to have some problems.
This says that facial recognition technology has had a rough road. It is included in the new Samsung Galaxy S8, though, and Microsoft is using it as well. I think, aren't they? Like facial recognition where you sit down in front of your computer and it unlocks it?
Yeah, that's the thing. You have to have it has to be a device with a high enough quality webcam in order to use that. But it's a thing. I don't know how well it works. I've never tried it, but
I haven't tried it either. I will stick to my passwords.
I don't know. It just feels like something that would probably work most of the time, but then when it doesn't, it's just so frustrating.
This says Samsung admits that the technology doesn't currently provide a very secure experience.
Oh, okay, yeah, unsurprising, I guess.
Well, so that was the thing. So I misread this when I was looking at it. I thought what it said was for actual check-in, which I thought was a little scary. Like, we're gonna let people just. I don't know though, because you can still check in with, like a confirmation number and stuff like that, and print a boarding pass, I guess. But, I don't know. I think just the idea of like facial recognition for specifically like getting your boarding pass and like checking in, that kind of scares me a little bit. Especially with Samsung saying that it is not, at least their stuff, is not the most secure experience.
Well, I don't know if most people are going to be too concerned about that anyway.
Yeah, I might be a little tinfoil hattish on that. Maybe. I don't know, though. What do you think? Moving forward, do you think that facial recognition will pop up in more places?
Oh, of course it will, yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's the cool thing about technology is that it's evolving that way, but it's also kind of scary for certain things, I think, because, I don't know, like I said, you're relying on a computer to recognize facial features to authenticate somebody for something. Will that ever be as good as, say a password or a physical actual human being?
I don't know. We'll find out, I guess.
Yeah, we will. Let's see. So I just scrolled down the page here. You can't see it anymore because I pulled it off. But why Android is likely safe from a WannaCry-like attack. We're gonna move past that, but I think my iOS device is safe, considering that like Apple are like Nazis when it comes to what can be put in the store and stuff like that. So, moving on. Netflix is cutting off some support for certain Android devices that have some certain modifications. Now, we've talked about this before, but you have an Android device, and let's see. So it's currently rooted, right?
Yes, it is.
But you don't watch Netflix on your device, do you?
Nope.
So here's the thing. If you are one of the many people out there that has a rooted Android device and you watch Netflix, Netflix is saying that you may no longer be able to do that.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, they're cutting support for it. Now, their reasoning is Netflix says it'll make content harder to pirate.
That's probably the worst thing they could have possibly come up with to counter that. But okay.
Here's my question real quick here, though, is that couldn't they, like, create some format that would not be able to be, I guess, pirated or, like, played without using some special algorithm or something like that? I don't know.
Well, here's the thing.
Hang on a second here. Okay, let's try that again. We had like a short dip in connectivity there for a moment.
All right.
So what were you saying?
Well, with screen capture, that doesn't matter. In fact, you can use a separate device to capture your screen. Like, that a device between the computer or the device and the display, something in between that can capture the content. It doesn't matter. There's always going to be a way.
Oh yeah, I would love to get my
Where there's
hands
money
on.
around, there's people who will break it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I would love to get my hands on like a Elgato or Elgat. Is it Elgato? I think there are the Elgato capture cards.
I'm not well versed in those either, but
I think that'd be kind of a fun thing to have for doing specific stuff. But
well, they're nice for the fact that they don't impact your performance.
yeah, exactly. So this says there are many trade-offs to rooting your Android phone or tablet. The latest addition to the negatives column is losing the ability to stream videos from Netflix. Thanks to the inclusion of new digital rights management software, the latest version of the Netflix app won't work on devices whose Android OS has been rooted. The process of gaining access to the system settings and other parts of the OS that Google and device manufacturers intentionally blocked.
So here's the thing. It says that it will display as incompatible on Google Play if you're trying to download this on a rooted device. What if you just install it on a rooted device? Can you do that?
I don't know.
Is it only blocked from being downloaded? Can you just go ahead and get an APK and install it?
Well,
Is that a thing?
see,
I mean, I would feel like they probably would try to block that too, but
well, so there is a workaround for it, however, though.
you just don't patch, yeah.
Yeah, you don't update the app.
Okay.
So, like, I don't know. Is there a point to it then at that point?
The people who were using a device like this to obtain copies of Netflix content are more than smart enough to figure this out. Come on. This is stupid.
I'm sure. Like I said,
all
again,
you have to do is install the dated version. That's it. That's all you have to do, and then you can continue pirating stuff on Netflix. Wow, look at that. Gee, that's hard.
with our latest 5.0 release, we now fully rely on the Widevine DRM provided by Google, Netflix said in a statement to Android Police. Therefore, many devices that are not Google certified or have been altered will no longer work with our latest app, and those users will no longer see the Netflix app in the Play Store. Wait, hang on a second. Devices that are not Google certified? So does that mean that even if you have a device that is not rooted, that is not Google certified, that you won't be able to use the Netflix app?
I feel like that might just be bad wording, but I don't know.
Because I feel like that could be a problem.
Yeah, that could be a problem. Other than that, I mean, again, it says we'll no longer see it in the Play Store. So what happens if you just say you go on another device? I mean, okay, I guess maybe not another device. If you don't have another device, you could probably go on the internet and download app, just an APK of the app, right? And then since your device is rooted, you can install that super easily. In fact, you can do it even without being rooted. But then you just go ahead, you find the file, you install it. Does it work? I don't know. Maybe.
Maybe you should try it. and then we can get back to people on that.
That'd be interesting, yeah. The other thing I wouldn't be surprised to see happen is for somebody to come up with a workaround that makes it so your rooted device can still use the app.
Here's my question for you, Zach. So you have your Android device. Do you have a spare Android device just sitting around?
Well, I have a phone and a tablet. They're both rooted.
Oh, no, but I mean an actual, an Android device that you don't care about that you could root, and if you, bricked it or something like that, it would be totally fine.
I have one, but I don't think it can boot. I don't know. I'd have to mess with it. I'm pretty sure it doesn't work, though.
I was going to say, we need to, because I have my old Google Nexus.
It's also really old. It's just not, it runs gingerbread, for goodness sake. Come on.
Yeah, I have my old Google Nexus 4. But I'm thinking that we almost should have a rooted Android device to be able to play around and do stuff like this and do testing.
Oh, well, I could probably try it on this, but I don't I don't have a Netflix login, so all I would be able to do is see if it can be installed or not.
Yeah, like I said, I think that's an interesting thing that you brought up there. Is though, yeah, if you just install an old SDK or something like that, is it still going to work?
Well, you could probably install an older version of the app. That'll work. It even says it right here. If you use an old version, you can work around it really easily. But what
Me,
if you were to find the installation file for the current version that's supposedly protected against rooted phones that are trying to pirate content? Could you still install it?
yeah,
Maybe.
that would be something interesting to try out. I don't know.
Because what it indicates here is that the blocking, quote unquote, is implemented in the Google Play Store so that people with rooted devices
Yeah, that
just.
you just can't download the app, but it won't necessarily like.
I mean, come on. The people who root their phones can figure this out. It's not that hard.
I would
Really,
imagine.
Netflix? That's so stupid.
I would
Whatever.
imagine not.
Especially the people that are ripping the content and providing it for free. Like, really? You think they're not smart enough to figure that out?
Right?
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Especially when the workaround is so simple, like install an outdated version and then continue pirating like they always do.
I love that. I love how Netflix isn't even going to like figure out a way to block like the old um, application from being able to be like having content be able to be pirated from it, because like with that information out there, it's like, oh, I have a rooted device. Why would I update the app then?
Ugh. Why?
So
Even if you did update it, it would be trivial to downgrade it.
I don't know. Yeah, like what is Netflix thinking at this point? I don't know.
I don't know who came up with this, but either we're missing something or this is really stupid.
Like, and here's the other thing too is like, wouldn't it make more sense that if Netflix wanted to block the content from being pirated, that they would implement something in the like back end of the app?
I'm sure there is something.
Well, like there's got to be a better way for them to do that than just by saying, yeah, if you have a rooted device, that you're not going to be able to use the app.
Thing is, it's so much harder to protect like things like video and music because all it takes for someone to rip the content is to just screen capture it. It's really that simple. You lose quality in doing so. So I guess the most you can do is you can sort of limit the quality of pirated content.
That's true.
Sort of.
I think video gets harder than say like audio, because let's see, where is it? Okay, let me do this. So you obviously can't see this because you don't watch the stream, but anyone watching the stream. So this is Adobe Audition right here. And the great thing about Adobe Audition is that this can be used to record not only my microphone input, but with the what is it, the stereo mix option, which manufacturers of motherboards have been taking out now because people have been doing this. But like if you have the Realtek drivers or something like that, that option is still available. So I can actually like play something off of Spotify and literally record it straight into Adobe Audition here, and then trim it up and save it. So you're right, like
it's not difficult.
Yeah, the world of digital
quality, like because unless you can get your hands on the source file in high quality, it will probably be a little bit lesser quality. But you know what? Who cares?
Yeah, like if you can make out what's going on and stuff like that, and it looks decent,
especially if you're capturing a high resolution display like 4K or even higher. Like,
yeah,
somebody watching on like 1080 or 1440p, they're not going to know the difference.
Exactly. Yeah.
If there is a difference, it will be trivial.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like, I think most people wouldn't really notice the difference between well, I don't know. I've seen 4K displays. They look amazing, but like I don't know if I would necessarily notice the difference between, 1080p and 4K. Like
I think you could tell the difference, but
I think you well, okay. maybe I should reword that. You can tell the difference, but I think it's one of those things where it's like, it doesn't really make a ton of difference, I guess, unless like, you're really over the top about that stuff.
Well, I've actually never had a 4K display, so I don't know.
I've never had a 4K display either. I've seen them before and they look amazing, but
I'm no doubt about that.
I don't know. I think 4K is still one of those things that is just kind of. I still think it's kind of a gimmick at this point.
It's kind of reaching the point where maybe it could not be considered such a gimmick, but I don't know. As someone who plays games on my computer, I would much prefer to have higher frame rate than make the sacrifices to reach 4K.
Yeah. Well, the 60 FPS is more important than the
60, please.
Well, okay, fine.
Yeah, in any case, like just now, like we're starting to see hardware that can push 4K 60 FPS, but only that. You need more than one GPU or something insane to run 4K at more than 60 hertz.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, moving forward and stuff like that, but, I wouldn't mind having, if Samsung or some company wants to send me out a, 4K panel for either my displays or, TV, I'm totally cool with that.
Yeah, that'd be all right. Good luck.
So, well, again, we've managed to get through all of our topics for this week. I think this one actually ended up being a little bit shorter than last week. Then again, we did have some shenanigans with, you dropping out, apparently. So
Fun.
Yeah, Slack decided to want to work today for me, so that made the things a lot easier. But yeah, so just to recap here, if there's anything that we covered today that you want to comment on or anything, leave a comment down below. Also, check out our form that we have set up on our website. I'll drop a link down in the description below where you can go over there and talk about any of the content that we talked about today. And then if you have future, topics for the show or stuff like that, leave them down below in the comment section because, that's, we love talking about tech. So anything new that's going on, let us know. So I think that's going to do it for this episode this week. And so let's clarify this real quick. We were going to make the starting time 6 o'clock. We have now changed that to 5 o'clock. And this month we are doing Wednesdays as those are my available days. That could change later on in the future, but we'll keep you updated on that. So anyway, until next week, my name's Carlos. Zach, say bye.
Bye. Well, you asked, I delivered.
So we'll see you next week right here on Tech Beam.